Welcome back to the SEMA podcast. I am your host, Laquita. So, guys, I told you that I was going to be more visible on here as I am really trying to be obedient to what God is calling me to do. And so I plan on posting at least, not at least, but once a week. And I invited you on my journey as I am recovering and rediscovering um what was I said? Recovering, discovering and rediscovering Laquita. I definitely want to talk to you about, and I hope there's no background noise like it was last time. Bear with me because I am learning how to edit and I am having a difficult time. I had a really difficult time last time and I just about gave up, and a friend of mine said just post it like it was, and so that's what I did. And I'm constantly hearing people talk about, instead of delaying, just start ugly, instead of thinking that I have to have everything perfect before I start. Or in my case, I'm restarting, but I still want things to be a certain way. But I definitely wanted to talk to you about everything that I am experiencing, being here in my valley, in my wilderness. And if you are somebody younger than 40 or 30, I don't know if you've heard a grandparent or an older adult talk about your valley experience or your wilderness. And it is the time where God is taking you through something, and it seems like it's just one thing after the next, after the next. And it's like it's compounding. And you're like, and for me, I'm like, God, um, can I catch my breath? And he's not doing this to punish you. He's not doing this to punish me. He is preparing you for your next. And all of this has to happen. So I'm grateful that I know that. But let me tell you what all I have been experiencing since I left my marriage of 23 years. It was difficult. It is difficult. This is a really hard season for me. But I told you that I didn't know where I was going. I have returned home. So I'm back in the city of Atlanta in my old neighborhood that raised me, Fourth Ward. That's where I am. So I'm back home now, temporarily with my aunt, and I'm so grateful that she had the capacity to give me space here. And this is in my time of refuge. So I'm grateful for that. So that's where I am living temporarily. I'm back. Um, I have been experiencing all of the emotions. If you know the seven signs of grief, there is shock and denial and anger and acceptance and some other things up in there. I'll definitely make sure that I include those seven stages. Um, so definitely that first stage of denial, I've been in that. Like I can't believe this. I can't believe that I'm here because I love my husband, and I'm supposed to grow old with him until God calls us home. And that's just what I had settled on, regardless of the roller coaster ride that we've had in our marriage. Um, so I just shocked and in denial. And then there's that stage, and I can't think of the name of that stage, where I've been angry. Um, like how can he disregard me in such a way? And this is the man that I'm supposed to that is supposed to love me and just disregard me in the way that he has. Um I have, and the stage that I can't remember right now is that I have been thinking, well, maybe if I would have done that thing, then we wouldn't be here. Maybe I could have reacted differently. I definitely know that I could have reacted differently, but I also know that it was not my fault. But questioning that and finally accepting that this is what it is. This is my new normal. And that doesn't mean that I'm okay. I'm accepting that I have my days. I have cried just about every day that I have been away. And the first week, my tears were dedicated to my children, although they are adults, especially my younger adult children, because they are still at the home. And I know that they are affected greatly in comparison to the older adults that are not at home. So I was grieving, not being able to see them, um, grieving that they had to process all of this for themselves and understand that this is a new normal for them. Um, and I'm someone that I am growing into crying and being okay with that because I know that it's a form of releasing, it's a cleansing, and I understand that. But for the most part of my life, I didn't allow myself to do that. I would cry, but I would cry. I hate it to say that. Um, but I'm giving myself the opportunity, the freedom to be vulnerable and to release that which needs to be released. And being okay with not being okay. And if people are asking me how I'm doing, I let them know honestly how I'm doing. Today I'm okay. Today, um, today is the day. Today I've been, just really being honest with people and being honest, most importantly, with myself about how I'm feeling. Um, I in no way, shape, fashion, or form want to make people think that this is easy because it is not easy. I have felt lonely, and I remember not too long ago a friend of mine was telling me that in this wilderness, in this season, that I'm going to feel lonely. I'm going to have to isolate myself, and I'm going to have to lean in when it gets uncomfortable, and that's when I really need to lean into God. And she was absolutely correct in all that she said. I have felt lonely, and I have can only remember feeling lonely one other time outside of this season that I'm in now. But I felt so alone. And I know that's not the case because I know God is near me and with me, and He has given me a great support system. But there are stages and seasons and phases that you have to do things alone. And so this is my first time that I felt alone. And usually I have never been a person that gets bored because the things that I love to do, my hobbies include reading, writing, and listening to music and singing very loudly. Like I can sing. So I seldomly get bored. But yesterday I found myself bored. And as I sat with that this morning, I realized that it's because I'm in a different setting. When I was at home, if I wanted some entertainment, I could go to my husband. We could watch something. Um, but that's not the case now. It's totally on me to make sure that I am loving upon Laquita and that I am providing Laquita with what she needs and that I am focusing on Laquita. And that is difficult to do as a wife, as a mother, when you've taken care of everybody else and you have to get back to, like I stated earlier, discovering, recovering, and rediscovering who you are. So that's where I am. That's the season that I'm in, and I'm allowing myself to feel all of the emotions and go through all of the stages. And let me tell you what has been helping me. First, I feel like every book that I have read, every sermon that I have listened to, every podcast via YouTube that I have listened to has helped me as getting to this chapter and while I'm sitting in this chapter. It started with Finding Me by Viola Davis. I read that last year. Mind you, my husband gave me that book a year before, like right when it came out. And I didn't read it until mid-year of last year. And it was just perfect timing because I had said that I am in my transformation season. I'm still in my transformation season. And when I read that book, I think the first couple of pages talked about transformation. And so that was confirmation for me. I read a book called Shifting into Legacy. First, it was a devotional within the U Version Bible app. And then they had a link to the first chapter of the book. And I read that and I ended up getting the book. And then since right before all of this unraveling happened, I began reading Let Them. When I tell you this book is so good. If you have not read this book, Let Them, please go and pick it up. It's more than a book. It's a tool. Within the last couple of years, I feel like I have been learning to be emotionally mature. I'm damn near 50 years old, and I'm just getting to a place where I am becoming emotionally mature. And this is a good book, a good tool for helping you. I think especially every young adult needs to read this book. Every old adult needs to read this book, but definitely I'm trying to encourage everybody to read this book. A friend of mine suggested it earlier this year. And I finally picked it up and it's been a game changer. So definitely that. So I'm learning emotional maturity in my midlife awakening, because that's what I'm calling it. And of course, my Bible. This actually belonged to my grandma Mary. This was her Bible. So I'm so grateful that it's something that I get to carry that belonged to my grandma. And I pretty much have the same routine that my grandma had when I was a little girl, seeing her go in her room, listen to her program, and pray. And I do the same thing. I don't listen to the same program, but I listen to sermons via YouTube. I listen to the daily scriptures on YouVersion Bible app, and I have my music, and I do my praise and worship, and I pray in my closet at home. I did in my closet here in the space that my aunt is giving me in this extra bedroom. So that's been getting me through. I want to mention some things, some sermons that I listen to, and I'll be sure to link those in the description box. Sarah Jake Roberts, that's my girl. She's one of my go-to. A sermon titled, God Will Interrupt You Before He Sends You. Just perfect timing. And I talked about Pastor Mike last week in my podcast about 3 signs that God is moving you to more. And this morning, I listened to another sermon by him called God is Restoring You. And a couple of days ago, I listened to a podcast. I do not know the guy's name, but I will link it below. And he talked about you need a real rest for this next season that God is taking you into. So the restoring and the rest was confirmation for me, because God gave me a few words a couple of days ago in my prayer time. He gave me that this is the time for me to rest, reset, restoration, and preparation. And so to hear those two messages after he gave me those words, which is confirmation and divine timing. And what I am doing is I'm really trying to take the time to sit and be still and listen to God guide me to what he wants me to do. I'm at a place now that I don't want to do anything without God. Whatever you have for me, whatever you want me to say, whatever you want me to do, wherever you want me to go. I'm like Timo in Coach Carter. Coach, what you want me to do? I'll do whatever you want me to do. What I gotta do. I love that movie. But that's where I am. I don't want anything that is not purpose for me. I don't want anyone that is not purpose for me. And God knows during this season I have wanted a distraction. in the version of a man, somebody to run to, somebody to take my mind off of all the stuff that's going on. And that's what I've done in the past. And that's another thing that I'm learning. I'm learning patterns. I'm seeing patterns and wanting to work on undoing those patterns. And let me tell you, one of the first things that I did when I left is I relinked myself to therapy. And I know that a lot of people you need to just, you rely on God, but God gives you tools. God gives you people, and therapy is a tool. So that was one of the first things that I did. And I'm grateful that I've done that. I'm also trying to be the change that I want to see. I advocate a lot for therapy with my children, with family members, just overall. And I want to be the change that I want to see. I want them to see that I am making sure that I'm healthy spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically and financially, educationally, all the leads. But that spiritual and mentally and emotional, those are the most important things to me. And yes, when I'm having my time of reflection with God, I get not only spiritually fed, but I get emotionally and mentally fed. But I also wanted to use that tool in conjunction to what God gives me so that I can become the best version of me. So I know that's a mouthful. But that's where I am. And if I can inspire someone else with my story, encourage someone else in letting you know that you are not alone. Because silence is the trick of the enemy. He wants us to think that whatever that we're going through, that we're the only one going through it. He wants to keep us quiet about it so that we won't get the help that we need, so that we won't release. And I'm just no longer buying into it. So do me a favor. Please share this video with someone else that may be going through and needs some encouragement. And also like and subscribe, because I am going to be vigilant in putting out content. And again, I want you to go along with me in my journey as I rediscover me. Until the next time, I'll see you on the other side of your journey.